What's up? What's up, sports world? Y'all already know what it is, man. It's World Class Wednesdays. Yeah, we doing it a little different today. You did not see an introduction video, and for good reason, because great conversation is going on. You already know who's in the building. We got D Stanfield, the professional, looking like he just came off the U.S. Open golf course over there in Frosty Meadows. I don't know where he at right now. What city he in? It look like what is this? Arizona? Atlanta? Yeah, man. You know you a damn celebrity. Um, and then I got my guy Marcus the Alphabets. You already know who he is, Mr. Coffee Talk himself, Mr. Friday Night Lights, Mr. Season 7, with fresh perspective, of course. And you already know who I am, Andre the Torch Robinson, the fire starter, already here. Listen, y'all might as well go ahead and disseminate all that information that y'all just had uh, during this conversation because it's a very good conversation and it actually needs to be had. The closer that we get to the NFL season, you know, September is coming up less than 2 months away. We got probably
53.
about
We're
We
less than
are,
we're less than
you,
50 we're
you're
less than
52
50
games.
days from kickoff.
You-
We're less than 50 days.
We are 53
We are less
days
than 50.
from the regular season. Exactly, 53 days.
so might as well, kick off the show talking about what y'all was talking about earlier before we
Well,
started the show.
we're look.
And
So look.
we was talking about windows and playoffs and what team is gonna do what. And I'm gonna let y'all go ahead and let the world in on y'all conversation.
Well, I think we use the term windows like a little bit loose, a little bit too loosely sometimes, just like we do the word great. That's one of my pet peeves there when people are ready to crown people and ordain people after a little bit of success. To me, it's about consistency, it's about longevity. Just having one or two fluke years does not make you great. But we're talking about windows, not just the conversation started from with the Buffalo Bills, but I want to make it a little bit broader. We've seen this. I'm a historian, and I'll never forget when Dan Marino went to the Super Bowl early in his career, and you could not have told anybody that Dan Marino would never be back to a Super Bowl ever again. You could never, you would not have convinced anybody with all of the hype and the accolades of Dan Marino at that time. You know, the single season passing leader, what he did, I think it was like 5,000 yards, and just I mean just incredible stats. And then to go to the Super Bowl and to beat that 85 that 80 that Bears team, that Super Bowl Bears team that only lost one game. You could not have told anybody at that time that Dan Marino would never make it back to another Super Bowl. So we have to stop and stop being so presumptuous, in my opinion, of just saying because somebody's there that the window's always open as long as this guy is there. Every season is its own story. There are teams that we thought would be dominant or maybe a Super Bowl, Super Bowl caliber team. There is a very real possibility that the New England Patriots do not even make the playoffs this year. I don't think that that'll happen, but when you look at the numbers, I don't have the exact statistics for that. But the Super Bowl loser usually has a very bad year the next year. The Super Bowl hangover or whatnot they call it. So your thoughts on this? Again, you guys are more privy to this. D, I know you're Buffalo. Dre, I know you're in Buffalo. This window that we talk about with Buffalo, and D, we were talking about it. I want your perspective on that, and then Dre, I want your perspective from that. You're actually there, boots on the ground in Buffalo, but D, since we were talking about it before we went on the air, a lot of these conversations y'all aren't privy to because this is the way we talk. We talk, and sometimes we have to catch ourselves like we need to put this on wax. But the window, D, your opinion on this with the window, your thoughts on when people say this window, as long as we have Josh Allen, we have this window. Your thoughts?
So, uh, so, so, it, so it's funny that you ask about the window pertaining to Josh because I mean, as you know, I'm currently celebrating two quarterbacks. I'm watching two quarterbacks closely. It's Josh and Caleb. Um, and so for me, the window conversation is very relative, but it's also very skewed because I think that with talents like Josh and Mahomes and Caleb and Lamar and Burrow and those alike, I think there is a window that's open. But but the NFL is a building, and even if your window is open, you still got to look out that window to see what's available. Your window could be pointing towards first round, and that might be your brick wall. You ever seen people open up a window and it's a brick wall right outside the window, specifically in places like New York and Chicago?
In Chicago, yeah, I was about to say,
Yeah, yeah. What if that window is open, but the opening in that window leads nowhere? And sometimes that brick wall is put there by the inner workings of your organization, which is what I'm ultimately getting to when I talk about my Buffalo Bills. Um, I think that there is always a a window of opportunity for the Bills as long as they have a healthy Josh Allen who is peaking towards the middle, almost at the tip to peak over of his prime. I think that there is a window there. The problem is what's outside of that window is highly, highly limited because of, like you said, Marcus, location. There's not a whole lot of appeal in Buffalo. So the draw for free agents is really based on what the organization can provide to you. They're not providing you with a great city, but sometimes great cities can be a distraction. Miami, they for the past 13 years they provided you with at least a culture of stability. Now that has been shaken up. So what happens if things go bad this year? Then everything that you've built to present an environment that you can say, even though we don't have this, we have this, is now in flux or vulnerable. And then you look at you look at the contrast with Chicago and Caleb, and you look at what's going on in the city with them eventually potentially becoming the Indiana Bears, and you might say to yourself, well, I don't want to play for a team that's closely being located to the origins of the KKK. Just saying. So that's the window of opportunity is always going to be there as it pertains to talent, but it might be limited based off of what the organization is able to surround you with. And I'll leave it at that.
yeah. Dre, your thoughts on it? Again, your boots on the ground. Your thoughts on this? And look, I don't want to just like single out Josh Allen. I think there's, when you look at Lamar Jackson, you look at Justin Herbert, you look at Trevor Lawrence, you look at Joe Burrow, some of these quarterbacks that were highly drafted guys. A guy like Bo Nix, Bo Nix was the AFC Championship game. Drake May, he was in the Super Bowl last year. So, your thoughts on that as far as this window philosophy that as long as we got this guy here, we have our windows open and our we have a lot of opportunities for that. Your thoughts on it, Dre? Dre. Dre, can you hear me? I just think when people use that window, or I've seen this window argument with people, and look, I've been watching football a long time. I remember there some of the quarterbacks that we think so highly of, that we put on pedestals. Even guys like Peyton Manning, can he win the big game? John Elway, can he win the big game? Uh, Hell, Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers. These guys, they faced a lot of scrutiny early in their career because they were supposed to be the next it thing. And look, there's 32 teams. All of these guys are vowing for one trophy, and it's not written in the stars that you'll ever win a Super Bowl. If I had told Buffalo fans in the mid to late mid 80s to early 90s, especially after the four Super Bowls in that window there, that the Buffalo Bills, they will never win a Super Bowl with four straight Super Bowls, I think I would have been laughed out the building. So it's not written in the stars. Even though you're having some success, some sustained success, it's not written in the stars that you'll ever win a championship.
So back to the alphabets. First and foremost, you already know. Devon Stanfield should already know. I've said this 1,000 times. And this is why I showed the video while y'all was talking about windows. We had the conversation about who regresses more. Who's regressing more, Josh Allen or the organization? To me personally, as in good taste as that question was last week, I have a change of heart. And this happens sometimes with folks. By the way, don't act like I know y'all watching like, what? You got to change it. Don't act like you ain't never had a change of heart before. Yeah, I got a change of heart. The change of heart is straight up that Josh Allen will never, and I think I've kind of said this, but not as boldly as I'm going to say it right now. Josh Allen will never win a Super Bowl with the Buffalo Bills. And I hate to say it that way, and a lot of people gonna give me flack. I'm gonna get comments in the comment section. I'm about to get ridiculed. But the reason why I'm saying this is solely off the fact that I do not trust your organization. I don't trust your organization. You guys earlier were talking about family and feeling like family, right? Family is a word. You said great is a word that people use loosely. Well, family is another. Family-like atmosphere, continuity, being able to understand each other, being able to provide. See, families provide things. And I feel like this organization doesn't provide enough. And when I say that, I mean that. In knowledge, they don't provide enough knowledge. In decision making, they don't make the greatest decisions. In the clutch, they don't come through in the clutch. Family usually comes through. Real family comes through. Real family is impactful. And when I watch all 7 of these losses right here, it's either on Josh Allen or it's on Josh Allen. And you know what I mean by that? Either Josh Allen puts him in the position to win the football game or Josh Allen loses the football game. Well, that tells me one of two things. One, where is everybody else that can actually win you a football game when Josh Allen can't? When Josh Allen isn't playing his best, can you win a football game? Well, that hasn't happened. because not enough has been put around this organization. When your defense gives up 32, 33 points a game in the playoffs, you haven't put the entire package around him yet. You know why Tom Brady won Super Bowls? You mentioned Tom Brady and the family-like atmosphere in New England. It's because New England put the full package around him. You put enough defense to win championships, and you gave Tom Brady enough offensively that he can go to work with the defense that he had. Tom Brady, in the 20 years that he played, had top 5 defenses for 17 of them. 17. That is what we call greatness from a family like dynamic. From a family like dynamic. That's greatness. You're putting somebody in a position to win. And I think a lot of people overlook putting people in position to win. We talked about that from a basketball to football aspect, right? We talked about that a couple of weeks ago. This is why I love these shows, because all these shows connect. They all connect. They're all synonymous. They all symmetrical to the conversations that we have week to week. Families do that. You see what I'm saying? Families do that. Family matters. And I'm not talking about Steve Urkel. I'm not talking about Laura. I'm not talking about Carl Winslow.
Jesus Christ.
Family stuff matters, man. Those dynamics matter. When you're the quarterback, I heard somebody say this, and I don't want to do an impersonation, but I feel like one's coming. When you are the quarterback, it's like holding the entire team in the palm of your hands. What decisions you make with the football impact a game. I've heard people say, well, an interception is just a punt, or a fumble is just a punt. I'm like, what? What is wrong with you? Do you know how I look at turnovers? I look at turnovers like when you play a video game like Sonic and you lose a life. Because essentially when you turn the ball over, you're losing an opportunity to elevate said life. You see what I'm saying? You're losing the opportunity to put yourself in a more winning predicament, in a more winning dynamic. And I feel like that's where a lot of stuff gets lost in translation. Like Josh Allen turned over the ball. What, they had 4 turnovers against the Broncos?
And to me, that the one that was really devastating.
They had 5 turnovers against the Broncos. Josh just had 4 of them.
And
say that again.
They had 5 turnovers against the Broncos. Josh had 4 of them, but the most critical turnover was not from Josh. Although you could argue that the most critical one was from Josh because it was right before the half. But that was not the momentum changer. The momentum changer was the fumble by James Cook.
Right before the half, when you're going in and going in to get 3 points, and instead you turn over the ball and they get 3 points. I think that was a huge momentum shift. And it was unnecessary.
We were about to go up 17 when he fumbled.
Okay, we can. Okay, that's
and
fine.
What happens at that point is the same thing that happened in the exact year previous, in the exact same round, where we demoralized a second-year quarterback and we run away with the game. We are in the exact same scenario. The difference is, just like against Miami and Atlanta, where we're about to go up and take a commanding lead, instead we give the ball back and give them the 7 points. because then our defense can't stop them from marching right down the field, just like Dre said. And not only does that happen, the very next possession, then Josh throws the pick. He was on a roll before that fumble. I don't think that people understand. Dre, you really were on to something. I just didn't think. I probably wouldn't have used the Sonic the Hedgehog life up analogy. I would have used commanding momentum as my analogy in terms of the verbiage. Because when you turn the ball over, unless it is a forecasted turnover, meaning you're on like the 45-yard line, you can't make a kick, so you're just going to throw the ball long, and if it gets picked off, so be it, because you're still pinning them back where you would in a punt. And if that is the case and you're forecasting the turnover, that's different because it's not demoralizing. But when you turn the ball over inadvertently, unplanned, it is demoralizing, especially when it begins to happen over and over again, like a domino effect, in which in last playoffs, in last year's playoffs, it was we're back on the bad side of history yet again. It is the cataclysmic Buffalo curse scenario. That is exactly what it is. We live. People say, "Go to hell." We live there. We vacation there, and it always comes at the worst possible moments. Damn near half the parties that deal with collapses, Buffalo is a part of it at some point.
Yeah. I don't want to just single out Josh Allen on this too. I think there's some other guys that fall with the same boat. I think
that's the thing. It's not a single out on Josh Allen.
Yeah.
As I stated, it's who shows up when Josh Allen doesn't. Like, family, if you was to have a bad day, Marcus, one of us gonna show up, obviously, and we're gonna be like, yo, Marcus, yada, yada, yada. And make that day better, and you're gonna get through that, and it's gonna be a good result. That's what you understand what I'm saying? I feel like he hasn't had that. He don't have that. It's either Josh Allen put him in a position to win, or he puts them in a position to lose. And I feel like until that dynamic changes, where you actually add something to, this is where family and partnerships become a matrimony. When you add something to, when you're a compliment to, that's when they're gonna win. But I don't feel like this organization does enough to compliment to. Like, you do dumb shit, like, excuse my friend, and I'm sorry to put it this way. You do dumb shit like get on live air and throw people under the bus, throw players under the bus, throw coaches under the bus. Your owner looks like a fucking buffoon on national TV because he's not a sports guy, and he's running his mouth aimlessly trying to save face. That shit is not gonna win you a Super Bowl. Making decisions like, oh, let's have Josh Allen in these interviews, these coaches' interviews, where he shouldn't even be to begin with. And then you turn around and you promote the guy who looked like he was stale offensively late in the season anyway. Then you promote him. Dumb shit like that. That's why I don't trust him to win a Super Bowl with this organization, unless this organization gets Agent 99, if you know what I mean. You know what I mean. Until they get that, it's gonna be the same carousel. They're gonna be horsing around on the same carousel, doing the same stupid shit constantly. On top of the fact that you already have a bad stigma with your organization and team, because you're probably one of the most unluckiest teams ever. The worst shit happens to this team. What was it? Tennessee, Music City Miracle. What was it? Devon, 13 seconds. What was it? The damn
wide right.
What was it?
Wide right.
Oodles and oodles of damn.
You can go wide right. You can go the fumble with Leotis McKelvin. You know, like what else do you what do you want? I got a bunch of them. Yeah. You can go the massive polarity, which is Frank Wright wins a game against the Houston Oilers after being down 35-3, only to come back and be dumb and put Jim Kelly interception thrown ass in the game, and we run a lose game. Like,
Yeah.
it's like
What I see is the trajectory with and look, a few years back, I think it was the Ravens, and they were interviewing John Harbaugh, who's the head coach of the Giants now. And one of the reporters had said something about Buffalo being a city of losers, and I didn't really like that. I thought that was very distasteful. These are fathers and husbands. People go out and work and do stuff like that. I hope it was just talking just like sports, but to say that was kind of distasteful. But it's hard. It's hard when you get that reputation of things going badly, and what I see right now, and maybe they can turn it around. I don't know. Look, you got a brand new coach. I understand he was offensive coordinator last year. Then you're moving into a new building. You're moving into a new building.
Whoa, hey, stop right there, Marcus. Stop right there.
Okay.
I really need to address this. It's the fifth time it's been brought up in this offseason. Dre, what I'm about to say is probably going to piss you off and make you laugh at the same time. I feel as though, and Marcus, you're going to understand what I mean by this too. I feel as though Brandon Beane, in the back of his mind, knows what the mission was at the end of 13 seconds. He knows he should have fired McDermott at that moment in time and elevated Brian Daboll and brought back Jim Schwartz and let that man lead that team that offense and that team that he pretty much helped cultivate, because at that time McDermott was still the introvert that didn't talk to people, that didn't take advice from anybody, that was trying to control control and micromanage everything in the locker room. At that point in time, it was that time that he should have done that. And so in this moment with the Joe Brady situation, I feel like he's trying to rewind time and was not trying to lose Joe Brady and elevate him and get rid of McDermott. But that time had passed. You already effed that up. So instead you elevate Joe Brady, who, no disrespect to the man Joe, man, I really like Joe. But when you compare a Brian Daboll who has a global view, Nick Saban's words, not mine, who has a global understanding of how to operate with and how to lead men, not my words, Bill Belichick words, who has an established protocol and a reputation with the players. When you just look back at what happened after 13 seconds and Brian Daboll left that locker room. Where did it start? First, it started with the Stephon Diggs fiasco, because they let go of his guy. Right? He went on Colin Cowherd in that gray suit and gave every subliminal shot to say, you shouldn't let Daboll out of the door. Now they're gonna have to either find somebody else that we don't know what we're getting, or they're gonna have to elevate Ken Dorsey, which is Josh's guy, and Josh gonna get everything that he wants. And he's not that guy. And what exactly happened? So you're trying to rewrite history based off of a mistake that you made, instead of learning from your mistakes and doing better. So we talk about the Joe Brady elevation. No disrespect to Joe Brady, but you asked the question in the beginning of this episode: what happens if we have a bad season? What happens if we have a bad season with Joe Brady at the helm? Is we get exactly what we fucking deserve.
On that, Marcus, real quick. I think I've told you this, and I've also been one to apologize about this too, because I was one who said that Daboll was stale. I was one who was like, Daboll is getting on my nerves. I'm one who literally looked up in the playoff game against the Colts, looked up into his into that suite that he was in, and looked at him and was like, what the are you doing? You're running the ball 3 times and you're in Colts territory. This is not even how you got here, and you're doing that. And I'm looking at him like, what are you doing? But now when you think about it in hindsight, Dable was able to keep Josh Allen on a leash, and it was more of a tactician game with Dable as the offensive coordinator. He was more of a tactician, run the ball, keep Josh from getting injured, yada yada yada.
Turn it over the
You
ball.
know, mix it up a little bit, yada yada. When Ken Dorsey came into play, it looked good for about 9 games because Josh was able to be off the leash. Ken Dorsey was off the leash. There was no pulling these. If 2 wild dogs is off the leash, you can't control shit. So both of them was off the leash to me. And then you saw what happened. Ken Dorsey got stale. People started picking up on his shit.
Because
Animal control got
it wasn't no
animal
in the past
control
game.
got
It wasn't
called.
no.
And what happened? And what happened? They started controlling Ken Dorsey's ass. They started putting the tranquilizers to Ken Dorsey's ass.
Because
And
it
then
wasn't
Ken
no
Dorsey got
damn
looked at.
it wasn't no damn routing concepts. It was throw the ball long and let
I know.
Josh find talent.
Run around and make plays and stuff like that. So we have to get out of this habit of just in summer we got to get out of the habit of just saying just because somebody's there. It's not written in the stars. I don't care who it is. If we've seen even the greatest of quarterbacks that look, I watched John Elway. He didn't win a Super Bowl till his last 2 years, and they stuck with him, and there was a lot of lean years. So,
And what did it take to get it though? What did it take to get it?
A running game, because that's what they were doing with John Elway. It's like, John Elway, save us. Go out there and save us, run around and carry us. And then when he got older, he just couldn't do it anymore. So
They had a top 5 defense, and their running game was the number 2 running game with the number 1 offensive line in the NFL. And John Elway only had to be Elway when it was absolutely necessary.
On that helicopter play. So you see this with these organizations, in the words of Winston Churchill, he who fails to learn from history is doomed to repeat it. I think that there are some historical references that you can use as far as this. You look at a guy like LeBron James at his first stint with Cleveland. You get a guy like that who's just so dynamic, and you just think he can always save the day. And it's like, you're a superhero, but guess what? You're going up against a bunch of other superheroes too. As great as LeBron James is, you're having to go out there against the Boston Celtics with those guys that they had with Ray Allen and Kevin Garnett and Big Baby Davis and Rajon Rondo and all them guys that they had. It's like you're overmatched. You're overmatched, and
Marcus,
I'm starting to see that. Yes.
Wilt Chamberlain until the 70s, Wilt Chamberlain might have been the greatest basketball player that we ever saw. But when you running up against Havlicek and all them, you running up against 5 Hall of Famers, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's just you're outgunned. So we'll see. So I knew we'd have to talk about this. First off, congratulations to Spain. D, I know you're a little bit upset. I know you were rocking your Argentina jersey, your Messi jersey last week.
Repel the racism.
Look, there's been this running, this inside joke with me and Dre and with D about. Look, I'm not a very superstitious person. Okay, I'm just not. But when you start to see certain patterns developing over and over and over and over, look, look, what are we doing here? And Dre, we talked about this a little bit, with the Knicks game, with the USA, what was it? Was it Belgium?
Yep. USA and Belgium. USA and Belgium. The Knicks game, now this Argentina thing with
this guy is the real life Eddie Mush from Bronx Tale. Don't
What is
touch the dice.
what
Don't
the girl
touch the
say?
dice.
Until you do right by me, everything that you touch.
You you the things that it's just a pattern that we keep seeing. The Knicks game, American football, the just it's just always something. And that with this, and then guys, look, we try to keep this strictly as a the Rise Up Family Alphabets Football Show. We try to keep this as strictly sports, but there are times, all right, where sports and politics and things like that they intersect with each other. When they cross, we're going to talk about it. But this is such an embarrassment. It's so embarrassing. And when you're being told, and some of this, guys, I'm gonna keep it a buck with y'all. Some of this I put on the FIFA president because he's been an enabler. He gave him like the FIFA the first ever FIFA peace medal or something like that because he wanted a Nobel Prize so bad. And you're trying to get this guy off the stage, and he just stays on the stage, just wandering around in the days. They're trying to get him off of there. Uh, he's done a lot of embarrassing things throughout, both terms so far. But to me, this is one of the most embarrassing things. The World Cup, as big as the Super Bowl is, the World Cup is bigger than the Super Bowl. And you're watching you have the entire world watching this buffoonery, this cartoon-like behavior. Your thoughts, guys? I just have no words. When I sat there, I'm just like, this is just terrible. Your thoughts, guys?
Fine. He was trying to look. He tried. He almost went there, but you know what? This is what family do. I got your back, Marcus. Ready?
Hey, before you go into it, just make sure you don't say his name.
Okay,
just
I won't say it.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you because I'm gonna go. I've decided to go back to what we called him in the first term, the big orange Cheeto.
Okay, got you. I will say that person. First and foremost, number one, TP. That person. Okay, TP.
For your bunghole?
Didn't he have a whole lot of disparate marks for Spain before this happened, though? Right before this happened, I'm sure I could pull up video footage. See, in this day and age, in 2026, there's a lot of receipts out there. So I'm sure I could pull up a receipt where he was talking about how Spain, those people are lost people. We aren't doing any business with them, yada, 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 dogged them out. Yet somehow when they won the World Cup, you're on stage acting like you're like their biggest fan. Sir, you look like a clown. I mean, this the clown stuff we talking about, the buffoonery, the simp behaviors that we be talking about. Like, sir, you weren't invited. Nobody came to see you, Otis. Nobody came to see you, Otis. And you up on stage like you that guy, like you're that guy, because I got a title. I'm the president of the United States. Like you look like a clown. Sometimes you should just be quiet in the back. Okay, be quiet in the back. Sit back there. Think about what you done did. Okay, think about some of the stuff that you done did and pulled. Self-reflection, man. He has no record. He has no coof. We call it coof. No coof. He has none of that. He doesn't care. The guy just wanders aimlessly, like you said. It's crazy work. He makes us as a separatist country look bad even more than we somewhat already look bad. Like he makes it even worse.
It's just a terrible look on the global stage, and you wonder why a lot of these athletes, and there's some out there, the one during the UFC fight that called Michelle Obama, man, and whatnot, and he's laughing, and it didn't say anything, but it's just so demeaning for the office. This is a time where, and then with and then taking credit for the World Cup. Oh, I'm the only one who could bring the World Cup to the United States. These World Cup uh, host countries are decided. These World Cup host countries are decided years in advance. They decided on this in 2016 when Obama was still president, and you're like, I'm the one who brought it here. No, it's just like with the Super Bowl. We know who's the next like 4 or 5 hosts for the Super Bowl is going to be. We know who the next like 4 or 5 drafts were. I think next year's draft is in DC. It was in Pittsburgh this year. Shout out to Sharon Mullen, my lovely coach from on Die Hard at Pittsburgh this year, but I think it's in DC next year. This is already determined, and you take credit for things that are like you had no part of.
It's like mentality.
So actually,
Columbus stuff.
This World Cup was actually decided during Biden's presidency in 2022. It was decided. Either way, it wasn't Trump.
That was Biden's turn, correct?
Yeah, that was Biden.
This has been determined since 2016. Like it's every 4 years. It's every 4 years.
They made the decision on June 16th, 2022 to do the U.S. to do the U.S., Mexico, and Canada.
So that's Biden's term, though.
So it's Biden's term, but Marcus is not wrong. They do it. They make the decision on the next World Cup while they're going. The committee is deciding while they're actually actively playing the current World Cup. So if you recall, in 2012. Obama was really, really pushing for the World Cup to be in Chicago, the World Cup final to be in Chicago, and couldn't pull it off. But Biden got it done in 2022, but Obama was a part of that pitch because he didn't get it in 2016. So, but I digress.
We just... It's a tough situation. I don't like to give him too much airtime. I want to talk to y'all. I talked about this a little bit on Coffee Talk yesterday, and while I have y'all here, I wanted y'all's thoughts on this. That the ESPN's going through these massive layoffs and firings or whatnot. D, you had said something a couple of years ago. I don't even know if you remember saying it, but I remember you saying it because a lot of the nuggets that you guys put out there, I enjoy watching you guys, the information that y'all put out there like this. But a couple of years ago, you had talked about business models going forward. We had talked about this, I think, on Talk of the Town. So as you all know, everybody out there, I've had it all up. I posted up in the Rise Up family group and the Alphabets Football Show page about these mass layoffs and exodus from ESPN, worldwide leader in sports. Now, you know that there was recently there was a merger between ESPN and NFL Network. Look, Disney's buying up everything, man. Disney, the Mickey Mouse, this guy, he got Star Wars, he got damn Marvel, now he got ESPN. Now, there was a lot said about the whole Ryan Clark thing. And look, I enjoy some of the takes that Ryan Clark makes. And there's some things that he says that could be very... some of the stuff he says is controversial. I've heard people and read some of the comments. Some people, they call him a race baiter, and he always makes things racial and things like that. And look, it wasn't just Ryan Clark. And I think we have to call out.
Thank you.
We have to call out. We have to call out stuff, especially as black men, there is a lot of racism that goes on. There's a at the local level, national level, within the city level, things and certain cliques and things like that. There's a lot of nepotism and favoritism and things like that. I personally, when I look at this firing list from ESPN, okay, and I wrote it down because I got reels coming out in the next few hours with the coffee talk that I did yesterday. Not only was Ryan Clark fired after 11 years at ESPN, you had Cam Newton, you had Bart Scott, you had Carl Ravage, who's been with ESPN for 33 years. Major League Baseball play-by-play announcer Tom Pelissero, who covers
Tom
NFL.
Pelissero. Yeah.
David Lloyd, Stefania Bell, who's like, she does all of the injury reports. She's been with ESPN. She does right before, if you're into fantasy football like I am, and a lot of you all are out there. Stefania Bell is one of the last people that you watch before the games kick off, the early slate of games to set up your lineup for fantasy football. And she's been there for a minute. So we have to get out of the custom of labeling, and this is for my black folks out there, okay? And I know I'll probably get some nasty grams in my inbox. Oh, Marcus, you should know you're defending it. I'm not defending it. I will always call out racism, sexism, whatever kind of ism that you have out there. I'll always call it out. But we cannot just single this out as a racist move. Look, I think you're starting to see, and D, you called, like I said, you called this out a couple of years ago, where the business model. I think a lot of these big production sports shows on some of the bigger platforms, ESPN, FS1, or whatnot, I think you're going to start seeing that decrease. It's a lot of money that goes into that. And let's not forget, these are businesses. ESPN is a business. FS1 is a business. To put on those type of shows, you're talking about probably hundreds of people when you look at the producers, the writers, the researchers, the makeup people, the light people, the hair people. They actually have people, all of the women up there, they get their hair done before they go out there. The makeup people, they have makeup artists. Okay, and they do all these shows. First things first, and Around the Horn, and First Take, and Undisputed, and The Speak, and all of these other shows back in the day, His and Hers, and The Herd, and all of that stuff. To produce all of these shows is extremely expensive. So as a business, I am going to try to, anywhere that I can cut fat, I'm going to cut it out. I think Ryan Clark, as talented as he is and as outspoken as he is, I think that the new wave is you're going to see is like what you see with a guy like Shannon Sharpe, with the nightcap, with Ocho Cinco and ISO Joe. I think that's the new model that you're going to see. You're going to probably see some collaboration with some of these guys.
Hey, Marcus.
Yes, sir.
Marcus, let me stop you right there.
Okay.
Because I think you're touching on where you need to touch on, but you're not being enough of a pedophile about it. I think you really need to go ahead and touch it. So ESPN's Pat McAfee experiment is about to take over traditional sports media. What they are doing with sports media is exactly what the music industry has done to music. The acting industry is now doing with acting. They are trying to create a movement where the majority of people that they put on the air are self-marketed, self-produced, already have a successful model in place, and you can see it. The writing has been on the wall because the NFL Network, for all intents and purposes, is very one dimensional. And when you replace that one dimension with something like a McAfee, or like you said, the Shay Shay Show, where they galvanize an already existing following into a show or into a series of show to fabricate ratings that don't really exist by your construction, but were already constructed for the purposes of more and more ad dollars. They're missing what's happening. The reason why it was so easy to cut ties with Ryan Clark, my frat brother Ryan Clark, is because they knew he was going to be good. Bart Scott, Cam Newton, they already have platforms where they're already making millions.
Jalen Rose.
And nobody's asking the big question, because when this stuff happens, nobody's asking the big question. How much was the severance? Because they under contract.
Devon, get the hell out of my head, man. I'm telling you right now. I want to listen, sir. It's like I'm wearing a red and blue hat with you. Get out of my head, bro. Marcus, this man just literally just took the words right out of my damn mouth. How many times do I keep telling you about corporate media and marketing? This is why I love these shows. I told you these shows segue and be parallel to exactly what the hell the next show gonna talk about. It's like a continuation. It's almost like watching a sitcom when you watch these shows that we do. Marcus, what did I tell you about marketing and what people they trying to target last week? Didn't I just tell you about this last week, sir? Okay, let me just put it like this. You said, did you talk about certain isms? Well, did you talk about stigmatism? Because the stigmatism behind it's not the fact that it's racist about Ryan Clark. It's the stigmatism. Let me tell you what I mean.
Stigmatism
is your eyes.
I'm sorry. You know what? No. Yes, stigmatism. What you actually see, your eyes. What you see,
or don't see, or don't see.
And what you don't see. Marcus the Alphabet. How did they fire Ryan Clark
in the middle of a show?
Let's not even talk, Dre. Let's not even talk about. Don't even talk about how they fired Ryan Clark, because Ryan Clark finished the show. Talk about how it got leaked.
Bing bong. Stop with the head stuff. Like you keep, sir. Not only was it leaked before the show was over, but he literally finished the show knowing he was fired. Fired in the middle. That's like, Craig, you got fired on your day off. Yes, I said stigmatism. I'm right. Stigmatism. You know what that shit looks like? It's not the fact of racism. It's the fact of what it looks like. And Marcus the Alphabet, what world are we in right now? We are in a world where certain stuff just looks wrong. That just looked wrong. And why? Because once again, as Devon just so eloquently spoke with disseminating that great information that he just took right out of, I feel like what's the place? Get Out. Remember Get Out when they was messing with it? I felt like I just had damn near a Get Out moment because he just took it. I told you about marketing. You remember they paid Stephen A. all that money, right?
Yeah. I think we have to say. I think we got to look. I'm going to say this too. I'm going to say this.
I got one more point to make. Drake cut me off right before I made my most powerful point. Watch these networks start signing 360 deals with the people that they partner with. For the purposes of this, you already have a following. We're partnering with you. when we let you go, we don't have to pay you a severance because we're hiring your entity and not you.
Yeah,
I also think that, and when I say this, it's probably going to ruffle some feathers. Ryan Clark, guys, guys like Ryan Clark uh, are very outspoken people.
Which makes you
They're
expendable.
not like they're not like Stephen A. Smith, one of those go along to get along type guys. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And this here is why all of these people. I remember Jalen Rose going off on Skip Bayless, calling them little water pistol Pete, because he was like he was talking back. He was talking, because he was basically, you know, talking crap, and he's like, look, dude, like I'm a professional athlete. You're sitting over here talking crazy. He kind of did that before he did that to Shannon Sharp on a live show where he was like basically sit down and take your glasses off and just kind of emasculate him and stuff like that. There are some people. Ryan Clark strikes me, and you would know this better than me. Ryan Clark and Shannon Sharp and Chris Carter. I remember Chris Carter went off on Skip Bayless one time. He was like, if you ever basically like questioning his career, you never won a Super Bowl, you're in the Hall of Fame, but you never won a Super Bowl. Basically belittling his accomplishments, and basically Chris Carter, if y'all better take this show to break, because I'm about to put hands on Skip Bayless. Ryan Clark, I've never met Ryan Clark. He strikes me as the type of guy that he's one of them kind of cats
boom.
that I'm not Stephen A. Smith. Stephen A. Smith strikes me, and Jason Whitlock. They strike me as those type of guys that are going to say whatever to a certain audience to get along and not ruffle any feathers and not make things uncomfortable. Ryan Clark says certain things that need to be said. Now, now when he said that Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers were not generational type players, I didn't really like that take. I thought he sounded somewhat foolish.
Well, he retracted that. He retracted that. He said that what he said about Aaron Rodgers was personal, and he elaborated on it. And the Tom Brady thing,
retract that.
Yeah, and the Tom Brady thing, he was saying they're not. He was saying that Tom Brady's not a generational talent, meaning he wasn't the guy that's being highly sought after across the nation. He's not saying that he's not the greatest of all time quarterback, because he was. So this,
it's slick. Okay, that's nice that he took accountability and retracted it. But here goes another one of those. Let me impersonate somebody I know very well. You do not get credit for putting out fires that you started. Okay, you had no choice but to take accountability for that dumb shit. Excuse my French. You ain't get no kudos from me. That was dumb. Hello, that was stupid to even say.
I mean, Ryan Clark has a myriad. I won't say a myriad, but he has a few moments where he made comments on the air that he's retracted the statements. The most recent thing, the RG3 statement. Remember the RG3 fiasco? He retracted that statement. I mean, people. Let's be honest, man. Even Stephen A. Smith had to retract the stuff that he said about Carmelo Anthony, because Carmelo Anthony called him and was like, "Yo, you ain't called me and get the real story." You know what I'm saying? So people are human. The thing that I like about this situation with Ryan Clark is, number one, through the firing, he was a consummate professional. That's number one. Throughout this entire scenario, these last 2 days, he's been the consummate professional. And then number two, like a true journalist, he does take accountability. Mm-hmm. Every journalist does not do that. Some people stand on business, including some people that we've talked about during this show, Skip Bayless. Some people stand on business when it comes to their foolish talk.
Oh, you mean like Stephen A. last week with the whole conversation with Will Kane? Oh yeah. Speaking of which,
Oh
folks.
my goodness!
Speaking of which,
Wow.
folks, it
Yeah.
gets me to, you know, I love when one thing segues into another, and I saw this coming, and that's why I had this already prepared. I had it prepared. It was in my back pocket. Talking about things to retract and take accountability for. Mm-mm-mm. By the way, hey, sports fanatics out there, hey, people that's watching the show, I have a little secret to tell.
Is that
And it's
Becky?
one, and it's one that is okayed to tell by the can man himself.
Is
Did
that
y'all
Becky with
know
the
that
bad
Marcus
hair?
Betts has become a WNBA fan now? He is watching the WNBA on the regular now. I'm getting messages in the evening and at night and in the morning about players from the WNBA with Marcus the Alpha Betts involved. I swear, you know, turning a corner, I swear, I never thought some things you'd ever see until you actually see them. Marcus the Alphabet. This is specifically for you because you have been welcomed into the club of the WNBA fan base. Sir,
Yo,
I know
man,
you heard this.
I'm not buying this.
I'm wondering what your thoughts are on this right
I'm not,
here. This
I'm not
great.
buying it. I'm not buying this, man. I'm not buying this. Marcus is not a WNBA fan, man.
I, I,
Marcus is not a WNBA fan. I don't care what you say. Marcus is an Olivia
I
Miles and Caitlin Clark. I mean, Olivia Miles and Paige Becker's fan because he hates Caitlin Clark. And I don't care what you say.
yeah.
And Marcus can't wait till Juju Watkins get into the NBA because there's another person that cooked Caitlin Clark. Do
No,
not be
and I've
mistaken.
been watching. I've been watching my girl Lauren Betts. I've been
And
watching my
Lauren
girl
Bell.
Lauren
Yeah,
Betts. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
do
So
not be
obviously,
misled. Marcus is not a WNBA fan. He is a WNBA player enthusiast. He is not a fan of that game at its core. Please do not be misled, people. Marcus is throwing y'all a fish line so he can say, "Gotcha, bitch."
no, look, seeing this story, Torch, it kind of reminded me. It kind of reminded me of what we saw during the women's college basketball with Gina Auriemma. People eventually show their true colors. People will always eventually show their true colors. What would lead you to make a comment like that? These are those kind of comments that when I read this, I'm like, she's the kind of person in quiet rooms that would say the N word. This is that's the impression that I got. We saw, and look, Gina Auriemma. Look, I don't want to discredit him.
Marcus, be careful. You're race baiting.
And look, obviously I've never been in a room with her, but when you see stuff like that, there are certain dog whistles, and for her to say something like this, it leads me. Not, after reading that, I would have to go back and look at her entire history, and some questionable things that she may have said in the past that we kind of overlooked. This is very suspicious to me, and it just makes you wonder, what. It, and I think some of the women in the WNBA are getting, especially the black women, they're getting a taste of what some black male athletes also get. And what I mean by that is when you have an outspoken uh, white athlete, oh, he's competitive. All he wants to do when Tom Brady is slamming tablets down and cussing out coaches and going crazy. And look, we look. A lot of people believe Tom Brady is the GOAT. Okay, fine. But when he's doing that, all he wants to do is win. That's all he wants to do. He's breaking blue tablets and going off on the offensive coordinator and yelling at everybody and stomping all over the place. But when a guy like Cam Newton does that, he's unsportsmanlike. He's he's ghetto. He's a thug. He's acting like a goon. Same with
Marcus,
coaching.
Marcus, what if Patrick Mahomes did it?
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Now I saw a couple of years ago when Travis Kelce headbutted
Andy Reid
in the face. Travis Kelce headbutted Andy Reid in the face. Now, I want you to think of if Antonio, the guy from the tight end from the
Antonio Gates.
Antonio Gates. If Antonio Gates
headbutted Marty Schottenheimer.
If he headbutted Marty Schottenheimer, what would be the narrative with that? What would be the narrative with that? If Kyle Pitts headbutted his coach in the face, what would be the narrative?
Well, I mean, Kyle Pitts doesn't yet have the credentials.
Okay, but I'm just saying, like, yeah, I get what you're saying. Like, he doesn't have enough skins on the wall.
Travis Kelce is in the greatest of all time conversation. Okay, for a long time, Antonio Gates was in the greatest of all time conversation.
Okay. Shannon Sharp headbutts Mike Shanahan in the face. Shannon Sharp headbutts Mike Shanahan in the face. What would be the narrative?
Well, it would be two narratives. Number one, he would be the thug Sharp, but the second narrative would be damn Shannon Sharp bent down real far to do that headbutt. Because Shannon Sharp, Mike Shanahan is short as hell.
Yeah. But we have to take stuff like that. It always seems to me like there's this double standard. Can you imagine? I remember back in the day, a guy like Bobby Knight, the tantrums that he used to have. I watched Bobby Knight during a college basketball game get up and throw a chair on the court. He threw a chair during a live game on the court.
Bro, we watched Bobby Knight put his hands around a player's throat before.
So when I see stuff like this, as a person who's a little bit older and having seen a lot of things in my life, when I see stuff like this, that kind of reminds me of situations like that where the narrative, if Don Staley said something, if Don Staley were a coach in the WNBA and she said something bad about Caitlin Clark or Paige Beckers or Sophie Cunningham, what would the narrative be? Or Diana Taurasi, what would the narrative be?
The narrative would be different if it was Paige Beckers, and for so reason because Paige Beckers technically is half black. Family is black, the whole 9 yards.
Okay,
Paige Beckers wouldn't get the same as Sophie Cunningham and Caitlin Clark.
Okay,
but my thing is, my problem with this whole situation is two things. Number one, it goes right back and expounds on exactly what y'all mentioned earlier, as far as doubling down or taking accountability. There are people that are trying to double down on this shit, talking about that's an Australian term that they use to describe. It's a term of endearment, yada yada yada, to describe certain people. Yada. Okay, well, guess what? Number one, I'm gonna say something that those same people who trying to double down on that uh have said in past. Y'all not gonna like this. You ready? It's very simple. Remember how they used to tell us, well, you could go back to Africa, or you can go back to yada 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 if you don't like such and such and such? Well, I'm gonna say this. This ain't motherfucking Australia. Hello? This ain't Australia. Take that Australian shit back to where you got it from. Because calling a black person a protected species in America will get you one, either hurt, usually, two, two, get you some free dental work, three, get you cussed out, or four, get your ass whooped. What are the four? Like legitimately, I don't want to hear all that. Oh, it was an Australian time. I tell you, it's more protection for the complexion than a little bit. I'm not buying it and I'm not hearing it. And you know what's funny? I covered the New York Liberty. Sandy Brownell was the coach. I never heard Sandy do that. But then I'm also hearing people say, well, she's never had a history ever in life of doing yada yada yada. She's never had a history of saying anything out of the way. You know who else y'all thought the same way of until y'all heard the video on it?
Donald Sterling.
I am a real American. Fight for your rights for every man.
Donald Sterling, Hulk
You thought
Hogan,
about them in the same
Mel,
light too until the
Mel,
videos came out.
Who was
Mel
that?
Gibson.
Do that
Who
do
was
that
that?
mean we should give them a pass too? Because you never
Who
heard
was that?
before him say anything as such.
Who
Bro,
was that wide
I'm
receiver
sorry.
from the
I
Eagles?
got to do
Riley
an
Cooper, was
impersonation.
that his
Riley
name?
Cooper. Riley Cooper.
Impersonation. I got to do an impersonation, Marcus. And this ain't even a you impersonation this time. This is a Devon Stanfield impersonation. Miss me with the bullshit, man. Miss me with the BS. I
I've
don't
never
want to
said
hear
anything like that.
it. Stop lying. Stop lying. You
I've never
lie
said
more than
anything like
a
that.
nigga's ass. If that's the case, you ain't never said no. Miss me with the BS. That's your favorite damn lie. Miss me with the BS. I don't want to hear it, bro. That's crap. Again, instead of just saying, you know what, it was in poor taste. I shouldn't have said it. This is
Nah,
not the
I'll
no,
do that.
Marcus. No,
I'll
Marcus.
do that going forward.
No, Dre.
trying to be
No, Dre.
self.
Because if no, Dre. No, because if we were to turn around and say Paige Beckers and Caitlin Clark are members of a protected species.
Oh, so you're not saying that about Paige though, because he's just one of us. I'm sorry.
No,
Paige is
I'm
not our
saying I'm saying
people.
that I'm saying that because didn't a certain team go draft a certain player's girlfriend on purpose on the same team? So if I so if so 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 if the so if the if the, if the reply to that was
I need you to lay off. I'm gonna need you to lay off Easy
Darko
Flood now.
Fudd.
You call it her Darko is crazy word.
yo who was it that came out and said that WNBA locker rooms are a cesspool for lesbianism? The WNBA player who said it? That she was being preyed on and what is her name?
Was it Skylar
Uh,
Diggins?
no, it wasn't Skylar. No. Skylar actually stood up against it, but against those comments. But it was I forgot her name. She kept getting traded after she made the comments.
Oh, okay.
Regardless of the fact, like comments like that, like
It shows who you really are. Like, look, I get so tired of people saying, "Oh, you just misinterpreted what they said. They didn't mean it like that. You're just a snowflake. you misinterpreted it. There's something. They didn't mean anything by that. I think I'm a fairly intelligent person.
hey Marcus, the road to hell is
I think
paved.
I'm fairly intelligent. Yeah,
The road to hell is paved with good intentions.
yeah. If it was Cameron Brink, you know what I'm saying? Like she's this good old All American girl, Caitlin Clark. If it were said like that by a black coach, it would be a problem, and we have to keep it a buck, man. It's a lot of times people they try to sweep stuff under the rug, man. It's just so frustrating, man. Like you know what that means, dude. You know what that means. Stop it. Just like stop it. You know what I'm saying? So we'll see what happens with that.
Hey, calling calling a black woman a species,
Yes.
as if you're not a part of the same exact genealogical construct, is wild.
Crazy
That is
work, man. It's
wild.
crazy work, man. It's crazy work. Gotta stop. They just gotta stop with the, oh, I didn't mean anything by that. Like I would almost respect you better. It's like, yeah, I said it, and I stand on that. I'm not apologizing. I stand on that. So we'll see. We'll keep our eyes and ears open as far as that. Was she suspended for that, or is that still under investigation?
One freaking game. One game. One game. One game.
Wiggins said that.
Now it's only
By the way,
what? So it's only what 30 some games in the WNBA season.
It's 44 exactly.
Yeah.
But Candace Wiggins is the one who said that about being bullied in those locker rooms by It was in 2011. A 2017 interview.
And then she went on a trade tour.
Yeah,
and then she went on a trade tour.
Yeah. So, all right, but Marcus, you know what time it is. I gotta go.
Gotta go. It's been real. It's been real. It's been fun, but it ain't been real fun. Look, next week, training camp starts. So we're gonna start getting a little bit hot on football. Look, man, once training camp starts, we're in football mode until the Super Bowl in February. So season 7 coming up. You'll see these guys on there sometimes on some of the shows and stuff like that. Coffee Talk. I'll start doing Coffee Talk on a more regular basis. It's just, look, this is kind of the dead zone and for sports and things like that. World Cup over, NBA Finals over. By the way, my guy grew 2 inches, man. Cooper Flag, this dude had a 2-inch growth spurt. And same thing with my boy Stefan Castle. This dude went from 6'6" to 6'8" in a summer, like in a few months. That's crazy.
They on that HGH.
That's crazy to me, but
they on that thyroid enhancer.
Michael the Alphabet, I'm sorry, but you is not slick. You do this once a show. See, I damn, man. You made it through an entire show and I didn't have to say that. But you just had to add your 2 cents on 2 inches, thinking that those 2 inches was going to get you 2 inches closer to a damn NBA championship. It ain't. I don't give a damn.
Okay, hang on.
You ain't winning no championship.
Okay, we talked earlier about windows.
He's so badly. You see this? You gonna let him play this game? Are the San Antonio Spurs get off the show?
Are the San Antonio Spurs in their window right now?
Of course, but they ain't winning next year. They ain't winning this year coming up. You think you slick, Mr. 666? Hey, do you see these games he playing? Divine, you gonna sit here as a professional, let him play these professional games
Stefan
like
Castle's
this.
A problem, man. But we appreciate y'all.
Real problem. A problem in the finals too. Yeah, go ahead.
Not as much what he said. Not as much of a problem as Jalen Brunson. Not as much as Jalen Brunson. But we appreciate y'all coming through. You're watching World Class.
Listen, sir. While you sitting there all quiet and cool, that damn computer is not gonna help the trajectory of your damn golf swing, sir. Stop playing games. Stop playing games. And stop letting this man sit up here and play on the show at the end of the show like this. Talk about something to it. Man, he grew. He would have said that fluently and got away with it. He'd have been like, damn, I'm sorry, but I'm the Scooby-Doo mystery man. I would have got away with it if it wasn't for those meddling kids. Get out of here. Stop this, sir. Stop this.
We appreciate y'all. We appreciate y'all coming through. Make sure y'all tune in to all the rest of the shows. Show love and support.
Here,
We appreciate
San
everybody.
Antonio colors play.
Whatever, man. We'll be back. Oh man, I lost it.
You notice that
We'll
Marcus
be-
Betts is actually wearing San Antonio colors right now too. He think he's so slick. He's not slick.
Y'all
sir.
make sure y'all come through. We'll be here next week, World Class Wednesday. Make sure y'all show love and support for all the rest of the shows. Okay, we appreciate it. Much love to everybody. Y'all have a great one. Okay, see ya.